Oh, here we're live. Yay!
Yay!
Still getting our stuff together, but the invitation in these spaces and on my platform for anyone joining us live will be well aware that it is to show who you are, even with a little black eye that I got over Easter shenanigans.
I see that.
Yeah, a little corker, my little 7-year-old nephew, like accidentally.
Oh, bump back. I've had that happen. It's very painful.
But yeah, welcome. Hi to those joining us. Sarah, hello. If you could hear us and see us. Welcome, Mina. Really excited to return with my new series called Let's Talk About. And yeah, Mina, we recently met. It was on I was invited to speak. It was my first official formal proper invitation to speak at an event, which I've been practicing for a while, but the first time sharing my story and doing some kind of group work as part of a releasing trauma event. And we got chatting on a post as part of me promoting that on LinkedIn, and that's how we've connected.
Right.
I'm thrilled to have connected with you on LinkedIn. We met for a virtual cuppa. We really hit it off. And we were talking about the chapter that I'd written for my book that I'm in the process of publishing on, like, the chapter is titled The Illusion of Function, and it's really about what happens when we mistake survival as strength. And I'm sure we've got loads of examples we're going to kind of dig into a little bit. But yeah,
exactly. So when you talked about this topic, hi everyone, I'm Mina Puri. I'm so glad to be doing this live with you, with Amber, so we can have a chit chat. So when you talked about that topic, it hit home because this is exactly my work. So this work, it shows up when things show up for people in their relationships, in their work situation, in their health. It's really the same thing, same patterns that are running underneath. So when you said function, this is anytime when there is something is not right, it's because things are not balanced, right? So when things are out of balance, so when we are over functioning in one area, we are under functioning somewhere else, even though we keep over functioning. But the over function leads to under function, to what really matters. Right? So we over function and just say burnout, then we are, under functioning for self-care, to really tune into what's going on with their body. So it is just it's the topic of the times because it's showing up for people across every area of their life. Because we were made to believe the more you do, the better it is. And here's a little trophy at the end. And we realize, well, the trophy was really not nearly worth the hard work that we did. Because we
might not even get it.
And you don't even get it. You don't even get it. What we lost, we couldn't gain back. We couldn't gain back. So we were under the misconception that function means you're strong, but function is not strength, right? So being able to keep going, it doesn't mean that you are well. It just means that you have trained yourself to override, to neglect what you're actually feeling underneath, right? So it's high function. When you talk about high function, that world is everywhere. Like, I'm a high functioning woman. I've done it all my life. But it really, what it is, it's well managed dysregulation.
Yeah, that's that. That speaks to me so deeply now in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to comprehend.
So we can, we really learn to manage. It's like, there's the functioning alcohol, right? My husband is a functioning alcoholic. He drinks, but he has managed to work with that condition. So we adapt.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's when I sat down to explore the topic of the illusion of function and where am I really going with this piece. The way that I learned to function or adapt as a child with some of the physical examples of trauma that I'd experienced. in terms of being dropped as a baby at 3.5 months old and then falling down the stairs at 10.5 months old to the point of pass out, bleeding, vomiting. You know, and that unfortunately, I shouldn't laugh, unfortunately continued for me. There was another one at 2 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old, and 17 years old. Only one of my scars is visible. You know, the rest, at least by cultural standards, remain unseen. And in processing the magnitude of that and reflecting on that, I realized that my body knew before I did. Because it came as a shock to me to find that out about my medical records. I'd never been made aware of it. I didn't know. And I was very aware of the later incidents directly
related
in the post-concussion headache that I lived with since the age of 18. But I was also aware that I didn't have any medical evidence for it. There was no proof. And yeah, I really learned to, in the processing of all that, I really learned to adapt, to function, overfunction, as you say, in certain areas, underfunction in other areas, and really, you know, give off the pretense and the impression that I was all right, you know, that I was a functioning human being able to get up and get dressed and go to school every day and then work later in life.
Because at such a young age, before you even have language to describe what you're feeling, your body and your nervous system has learned that, oh, this is normal. Danger is going to come any minute. This is normal. It's not a big deal. So I have women in their 60s who has had similar experience, the one that you just described. This client comes to my mind and she had no idea. She learned later on, but how her entire adult life was, she was perceiving danger before it even came, and her body prepared for it. Her body braced for it in a sense, like, I'm ready, the defenses are on, I can do it all. And they many times become highly accomplished until they hit a wall, or they have like something like a nervous breakdown.
And do you see this cycle and these patterns repeat over and over again?
All the time. And one thing, do you see the screen going black?
Yeah, it does. I have to keep like moving my
I see. Okay, I thought maybe there's something I
did do that to you as well.
So here what happens, the body likes familiarity. Yes. It's always trying to, the nervous system is always trying to create a little system saying, okay, we understand this, can you be okay with it? Then that becomes like a pattern of survival, pattern of being. You don't realize that you are repeating a pattern. You don't realize that you are in survival mode because it has become normal. So that's why many times when you tell people in the face, this is what's happening, they're like, what, come again? It doesn't sink in. That's one of the reasons people who need help the most, they don't get it.
No,
because they don't know something is wrong.
Yeah, I'd never known anything different. You know, on this healing journey, I've realized, oh my goodness, I thought everything started at 18, but that was when the severity of it started. I can trace it back now, and I'm like, I have never been a well person. I've presented as a well person, I've functioned, I've given off the impression that I'm a well person, but I've never actually been well. I've never known wellness. I've never not lived in a body, like you say, that isn't ready for threat, isn't braced for threat. It's just how it is.
So I always pray that somehow somebody in that person's circle that says, honey, what are you doing? This is not right. You don't look okay, right? Somebody actually intervenes, or that person by God's grace comes into some content, a piece of article or a book that alarms them that something is off. But unfortunately, so many people, that's why people remain in abusive relationships, because they've normalized it, they adapted it.
And we're so used to, we can, well, I can't speak on behalf of other people, but you've just made me immediately go, well, I was in an abusive relationship with myself. I was abusing myself, you know.
Because you're recreating what you know. The nervous system will recreate what's familiar. Familiarity brings comfort, It doesn't mean it's good for you. It just brings the comfort. It comes from familiarity, not necessarily from growth. So I think it's a very dire challenge or an issue of our times. It needs to be spoken of, but from so many different angles.
Yeah.
From so many different angles, right? So what the result we are seeing, why are so many people are anxiety ridden? Why are
From
so
such a
many?
young age, are you noticing that as well? Because I kind of figured this out somewhere along in my 20s and 30s, but I was so used to numbing out by that point. I looked back on my childhood and I was able to see that I was a very anxious young person. I remember having difficulty getting to sleep, and I don't know that there were kind of anxiety attacks that I experienced later, or panic attacks, but very panicky.
Yeah.
But in those decades, my 20s and 30s, at no point did I have any idea that I was still the anxious person. Are you seeing a pattern in women whereby this anxiety is, because I'm seeing it in my nieces now. My niece is 10. She's been anxious since she was 7. The elder of the two nieces is 15. She's been extremely anxious from a little girl. And I'm wondering now if there's this pattern playing out in us as women and girls, whereby this anxiety starts actually at a very young age. Is that something?
It is because it's energy. Energy never leaves. It either finds its counterpart, so to speak, to latch onto and to be expressed. So it can keep expressing across generations until we learn how to disrupt it.
Wow. And how do we disrupt that cycle?
We disrupt it by, first of all, saying this, somebody bringing attention, saying this doesn't feel right. Because somewhere deep in ourselves, we know it isn't right, but we just don't know what to do with that voice. We just think maybe we're such a complex organism. The ego says, you're making a big deal out of it. Look around you, life really isn't that bad. It's supposed to be like that. You can just do this thing better. And so the disruption is where the turning point is. But the turning point, sometimes the disruption happens internally, where so much stress, there's no reward for it. It's not saying, oh, look how much you can take, aren't you good, you are the blah blah blah. And because we're looking for relief, and the relief isn't there. And many times, to seek relief, we resort to substances.
And it comes through allowing you mentioned we need to disrupt the cycle, we need to feel. Well, relief doesn't always come with feeling. How do we allow ourselves to feel when, say, like for me, from personal experience, like the fear around feeling, I was wrapped up in denial, for like 20 years, wrapped up in denial. Alcohol was hugely poisonous to me in my system, just in denial the whole time.
How did you wake up? How did you wake up to the fact that something is wrong?
Through a massive mental breakdown and nearly taking my own life.
And actually, I hate to say it, that because there's no other way. I always think
I can see that now I look back. There was no,
that's actually what happens when people hit a wall. And I always think, like, God has a way. It will wake people up by something. Sometimes without any reason, all of a sudden, you wake up. It happens. It has happened, Eckhart Tolle. I mean, it happened. Like, he just woke up that there's something wrong here. Because your inner side is always, your light is untouched by all the external trauma.
Nothing can make it go out.
So at some point, it just says something is off. So that's your inner knowing. And I think, like, people and the circumstances get created around it. They hit a wall or a nervous breakdown, or they're trying to take their own life because they find no love, no connection. So they're like, why am I here?
Yeah. And if anyone is listening that might be in that kind of mentally kind of depleted and challenged place, the starting point for me to break that period of suicide ideation that I was in for quite a long while, with deteriorating physical health, rapidly deteriorating, was for the first time in my life, I spoke out to someone and I expressed a need to speak to someone, and I let them know that I was absolutely desperate. And that was the first time I'd identified a need, that I needed to talk to someone. That was the first time that I'd vocalized it. So yeah, just if anyone was tuning in and listening and wondering, feeling
how do I do that? So I think it's listening to that inner voice that I have a need, right? It's because we have overridden it for so long. I mean, I have people come to me when they've been talking themselves out of getting help for years. And because there's a mental trip. It's like, you've been doing it. It's not that bad. Just do a little bit like that. Learn a little bit here, because I don't
need help. I can do this.
Know that themselves as an existence. They're far removed from themselves, so they don't see themselves. They see this talking head.
Or even seeing themselves, I didn't see myself as someone that mattered. I didn't treat myself like I mattered. Health didn't feature on my priorities. Performing did, doing well did, overgiving, self-sacrifice and overachieving, all those things.
That's what we were. We were like a doing machine. We did not include ourselves in the equation. We didn't.
And when I started doing that, that's when things changed. That's when everything shifted. It didn't make everything all right or better, because I'm just conscious that with the audience here, we are chronically unwell. A lot of us bedbound, housebound, very seriously, very, very unwell, very unable to function and very limited in life. So it certainly didn't magically make everything better or all right. In fact, as I sought mental health support, my mental strength improved. I was still very depressed and highly anxious. But as my mental strength improved, my physical health continued to deteriorate. So it was quite the journey. But yeah.
It is hard work. It's painful work. And that's why many people, there's just so much pain in it. That's why they dabble. They kind of get their toes wet and they're like, okay, that's enough. At some point, you have to come to the realization that once you say yes or no to being where you are, your system will only bring forth what you are capable of handling. It's not going to dump everything all at once at you. If it comes at one step at a time,
feel like it does.
It can feel like it, and that's what you're ready to handle. But that's why this type of work can't be done alone.
Absolutely no.
You need to be heard. There's a witness value. You need to add language to what you're feeling to give it validity for your own self, that you're not losing your head. So witness value is huge. We don't heal in isolation. That's the number one mistake people make, because they think, oh, I'm reading this book, I'm listening to the podcast. You can do it till the cows come home. You're just in a mental loop. You need someone else to guide, to hold your hand and to guide you through it, because that support is everything. Because and many times, people do stuff like mushrooms or Kundalini yoga practices, and they just, it's too much, because their system is not ready to hold the level of consciousness that they are now stepping into.
So how does one decipher then? How does a person understand what support they need and which guide to work with at what time?
So number one, I want you to create a self-reference system within yourself. Okay?
Like that.
Somewhere in your build-up, in your makeup, in your psyche, there's a knowing that I enjoy when the sun is shining. I enjoy when the windows are open. I
Oh,
enjoy when the breeze is flowing.
amazing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is that possible for me? I mean,
Mm.
just go to nature when the sun is shining, breeze is flowing, and you're walking outside in the sun. It's just perfect. It sits so delightfully into your system that you just savor it. So I
Mm.
want you to know that's what wellness feels like. Can
Oh, I love that. What a great reference
Yeah.
point.
Can
Because,
you
yeah.
allow yourself to dream that little dream that just the nature provides?
Mm. Mm.
And if this is, you know that you light up when you walk in sun and breeze, and it's just perfect. You are
Or the
supposed,
moonlight and the
or
stars,
the
because
moonlight, and you're supposed to
yeah.
feel like that all that time, even when the sun isn't shining.
Mm.
So now you look back, really assessing yourself, like, how am I feeling? If I'm thinking it, I'm not going crazy. If the words are coming to your mind, like, I don't feel right. I
Or
feel
I need
tired.
help. I'm struggling.
I feel tired. Something
Yeah.
is wrong. I don't want to live in this world. My head is
Mm.
constantly going like it's a TV screen. And then I'm stuffing myself with bad food. And I'm not sleeping right. Then I'm having fights with my loved ones or my family or my neighbors. And my work is not focused.
Yeah,
So I
problem.
want you to look at that and look at the reference that the nature created for you. And can you see a discrepancy?
Beautiful.
When you see the discrepancy, don't ignore it. It's real. You're not dumb. You know the discrepancy. You know what feels what. That ability has never been taken away from you. You
And
know
you're
what
not
it feels
crazy
like.
either. You're not crazy. You're not
You're
losing
not
your mind every
crazy. You're not
second.
losing your mind. And you
Yeah.
know, you have, then you're like, okay, where do I? That's when you start searching for help, like your life depends
Mm.
upon it.
Yeah.
Anytime when I have needed help, I'm like, I don't care. We're beginning yesterday. Now, there's no way I want to feel this way. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why you come for help. And you know, and then again, the mind is going to trip. Don't do it. Money, which one? Well, here's the thing. Life is not foolproof. Life is not foolproof, but there are no mistakes.
Yeah.
Suppose you find the wrong person. Well, you need to go through that to find the right person.
Mm.
So is there a wrong person? Maybe not. So trust that same voice that says, this person gets me. I know how they think. I know how she talks. I think she'll understand me. I feel like I'm comfortable, I'm at ease in her presence. You have to trust it.
Yeah, and it's that niggle for me around that time. There was a niggle, there has to be another way. There must be another way. And I was even going to the doctors and I was
Yeah.
told, get on the drugs. And when I asked them if there was another way, they said, have sex 3 times a week. Well, as someone who used to take a lot of drugs and have a lot of sex, internally, I was like combusting, I couldn't speak because I didn't have the voice then.
That was his remedy for you?
Pardon?
That was his remedy for you? Have sex 3
That
times
was
a
his
week?
remedy. And inside I was thinking, for fuck's sake, if sex and drugs worked, I wouldn't be in this position now. But I can appreciate, just going back to our topic of the illusion of function, I can now appreciate that there I was sat in a power suit.
You were functioning.
At work, functioning, making, tending to his comfort, not communicating how I really felt, not communicating how serious it was, making sure he remained comfortable in his seat. So there was that going on as well, that kind of facade going on as well. And yeah, so that my point being, sometimes we might seek help in a place where that they're not equipped to provide that help and support. And I never saw it coming when I did voice to my boyfriend, I need to talk to someone, I am struggling. And he turned around and said, well, my friend's partner is a counsellor. Do you want me to see if he'll speak to you? That's given me goosebumps.
Oh my gosh.
And that, from then finding it within me to voice how I, what I really needed and how I really felt, it opened the door. And I am noticing that a little bit of a pattern sometimes, even if the help, I'm not, I don't want to suggest that the doctors never help.
Yeah.
I hear that with people, something clicked inside, and it might be through the doctors, it might be through speaking to a loved one, or somebody, somebody that they can trust.
Yeah, what I would say, the same ability that you are able to find that inner reference with the nature, that something, it felt so good, that's not how I feel, there's something wrong. It's the same intelligence, intuition, the deeper knowing that you can use to find a person that you work with. Usually you will know if they're talking, if somebody just gives you a solution, they don't even know where the problems are, they're not even listening to you, then I would say this is not the person. If somebody's saying drugs, it's like, okay, they're really working at a very surface level. So I'm not suggesting that sometimes medication for a short term is needed and can help you think straight. So it's not about anything against medication, but we have to use it in the right context. So if somebody is really listening to you and they can mirror back and understand what the problems are, then you give 2-3 people a try. And I think you won't go wrong. If somebody is willing to look at the whole picture, if somebody wants to get to the root of the problem, instead of just giving you some remedies or have sex, have breathe, go for a walk. Sure. This book is really good. Go read that book. Do you understand that people who have no capacity, they cannot understand a word that's written on that book? It's only overwhelming them. And then it's only reinforcing there's something wrong with you. You can't even understand a freaking book.
Yeah. So have any capacity to read a book at that point.
You can't dump information on people who simply don't have the capacity to hold it.
Yeah.
It's listening, understanding, and then giving them one tool at a time where they can resolve that one experience, where they can transmute the energy. It's the energy, right? The energy of neglect, the energy of being victimized. It's the energy. If we can give them something to transmute that energy into its higher expression, love for themselves. So through the body, they're going to feel that, because you did it through the body's like, I feel a little bit more space. It's like you got rid of a couple of clothes from your suitcase. All of a sudden, the suitcase has more space. So it's like, I have more space. When you have more space, you can breathe easy.
Yeah.
You can think clearly. You can't think with the loaded up system. You need a release valve in order to think straight. So, I think that if you talk with people who are struggling with this, if you get on a call with them and talk, you will know pretty much within the first few minutes, I think this person gets me. Then at some point in life, there are no guarantees. We have to trust. We have to trust in saying, okay, this feels good. I'm going to go with it. And I've been an entrepreneur, so I've gone to like one business coach because at that time it seemed like a really good idea. I learned what I did and then I was done. Then I learned something from the second one. And that's how the journey can be. Nothing is all inclusive but look at the whole picture. Look at somebody who understands you. And the pudding is in the feeling. Do you feel better? Do you feel seen? Do you feel they get you? And you can have a sigh of relief thinking, oh my God, I'm not losing my head. Somebody gets me. Then
that's like giving me a sigh of relief just hearing your words say that.
That's your person. I want to tell people who are watching, there's so many people who suffer with this. They're honestly, there's nothing wrong with you. Whatever anybody, all of us has endured, it has replayed again and again. The higher purpose is so you can see it. So you can see it differently in order to heal it. Not that you need to be stuck in it. Sometimes we need to see it again to really get it. That's why we repeat the patterns until we are hit on the head. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I've been doing that for 5 years. So until the 5 years are done, you have not seen it. So nothing is a waste. Everything you have done, everything you have endured has brought you to this place. listening
I've
to
learned
this
that now. It didn't
you
feel
know,
like that
in
before.
Amber's world, who is telling you the whole truth that she has lived. I'm telling you the truth that I have seen in countless clients, and to some degree, like every lot of the emotional issues, the familial issues, I've experienced them myself. The relationship issues, I've experienced all of it myself. Right? So it's because I've lived it and I have resolved it. And I wish at that time I had me.
Oh.
I wish at that time I had me who now knows this shit, right? Who can actually help me.
Same.
So I didn't have to go through years and years of, banging my head in wrong places and figuring out it myself. So that's why I've created a system. It's like trust, because this cannot be book knowledge. This has to be a lived experience. It doesn't matter how many certificates and books we have written. This is coming from the experience, the stories that we know in our bones. So nobody can tell me it is wrong because I have lived it. Because I know, like I know, like I know. So when you have someone who's speaking from personal experience, right? Find someone. Find someone you need help. When you decide that I want that sunshine, breezy, spacey place for my life to exist, decide that, the resource will appear.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that feels like a nice place to kind of start drawing this in to a close. Before we invite you to share where listeners can connect with you, Meena, could you share a couple of tips, 1 or 2 or 3 tips about how to build that relationship of trust? Because it was a few sentences ago, but you mentioned
sure.
Trust ourselves. Where does a person start? Because that is a journey.
So number one, it doesn't matter how much darkness might be in your life. God is not that cruel. He always gives you the little silver lining. Sometimes for people, it's their dog. Sometimes for people, it's like, I go for a walk. Sometimes for people, I listen to, or I paint, right? So that's your thing. So that's your anchor. I want you to find what your anchor is. Or sometimes people call their guides in and they feel the immediate peace. So I want you to repeat that. And when you go into that space, what is it that you feel? How do you feel? This is how you are supposed to feel. Not because I'm telling you, it's because you're designed that way. You're not designed to suffer. Write that down. And then you look at your current situation. Well, I'm nowhere near that. 99% of the time, this is not what I'm feeling. So that knowing is gold. That if you can feel it one time, you can feel it all the time, right? Then you know, well, sit with it if you need to sit with it, and just say, who can I talk to? Who can help me make sense of it?
Lovely.
Then reach out. You're welcome to schedule a call with me. It's a 30-minute call where we look exactly is that. What is currently showing up? Where would you like to be in 6 months? And what is that bridge looks like for you to get there? So if you really think about it, 6 months to feel better for the rest of your life is a very good return on investment.
Wow.
Right? So schedule a call with me. The link we can post it here, or you can just send me a message on Substack. I write every week. I just started. And send me a message that I'd like to schedule a call. I can get you a link and then come sit with me for 30 minutes and see if it feels like the right fit. This is the work I've done for over 30 years. And I'm in the process of publishing my 3rd book. It's about the relationship illusion. It really
read that. I can't wait.
Really is about trauma because we see it in relationships. Trauma shows up in relationships, in our behavior with each other,
in ways I couldn't appreciate, even at work.
Like, exactly, why am I behaving this way? And then it shows up more in relationship because there's a live person involved than even with food, because food isn't going to talk back to you, right? So, and then we'll see if we are a good fit to work together. One thing that I want to tell you, say yes to the life your heart desires, and the universe will open up doors for you. So many objections women have, these women who are struggling, or men are struggling, is they're not able to function. The finances is a problem. I don't know, I don't want to teach you magic, but all I know is that when you say yes to something as purposeful as becoming yourself, as healing yourself, the universe isn't going to leave you alone. Money and the resources are going to show up. You have to say yes and see what's possible. Don't stay stuck. Staying stuck is not an option, people. Please don't stay stuck. You are here to shine your light. You're here to contribute, to add to the goodness. You know, it's because I see so many people hurting, and I'm like, you don't have to hurt. They forget how beautiful they are. They forget that their heart matters.
Yeah.
They forget that whatever they endured was not normal. They were, karma, whatever you hurt, you pay the debt off, and then you heal it, you transform it, you become the love you are. So give yourself that chance. Come and speak to me and see if I can help you.
What a great invitation. Thank you so much. The Substack page, I will share the links when the goes out live, with the links in reference to your books and where they can connect with you further and book a call if they wish. But what is your Substack page called, Meena?
I think it's just, as I'm so new on Substack, it just says Meena Puri. If they just, let me just open up my Substack here. I'm very new to it, so I forget to even go on a daily basis.
I think that's the beauty of Substack.
If you just look like Meena Puri, you're going to find me.
Beautiful.
Meena Puri, find me, and then send me a message or something. Send me a comment, and that you would like to have a chat, and then we'll take it from there. We'll find a way to connect with you. So Amber, like, I admire you, totally admire you, because you've lived it firsthand. You've lived it deeply, you've lived it in your bones, and then look how strong you are for you to come out. Look at the example here. Look how you've turned it around. If you can turn it around, anybody else can turn it around.
Absolutely.
Right? And now you are helping so many other people, and this is not you will be surprised how many people. So we are in our 50s, 60s. We're dealing with women when they were babies. Their parents did not have this level of awareness.
No.
So the trauma and the neglect or the abuse, whatever they may have suffered from, is actually more a rule than an exception. I hate to say that, but there's so many women in our age who come to seek help. It's because at that time, this is how people express their emotions. This is how little understanding they had. They didn't know how to raise kids. They had kids. They didn't know
nervous system was on high alert. They also haven't experienced safety, perhaps in their own bodies for a long time,
because they themselves lived that way. So we're really, this is human evolution. We are learning how to be human. Our parents, that's how far they had come.
Yeah.
If they knew today the impact they left, they would be horrified.
And it's to be celebrated that we have evolved.
That we can now think straight, and we don't have to continue to, push it forward to the next generation. Most importantly, we don't have to push it forward to the next few years of our life that is left. We don't have to. We can stop it now.
Break the cycles now.
Exactly. And it does. Being in this practice for 30 years, I feel there's very little I haven't seen or heard. So I want to tell you that it doesn't matter what you've gone through. You can heal it all.
What a great message to end on, Meena. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Amber, and thank you everybody for joining. And I look forward to our continued chat. This is a much needed conversation.
Me too. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.